Well, wait no longer, for I have arrived. Finally. I'm gonna go to the bathroom before stream. So we're gonna fucking see how that goes. Yeah, or rather, how long goes, I guess. Quick to the coffee. Yeah. Regardless, welcome back to. You all watched Skyrim fishing while I quietly mutter to myself in the background. Evening, Camel. How's it going? Oh, so loud. Internet died. Oh no! The link's invalid. It does that sometimes. I'm not gonna. The internet. No, I need it. What do you think I'm streaming from? My own internet? What the fuck? God, no. Where's an option? An option I like, actually. That's why mine is so slow. You're stealing it all. Yeah! Apparently a lot of people are starting to get serious internet problems. Could be the weather or it could be the aliens. Nah, the aliens' Wi-Fi is way better than Earth's. See why their shit would be interfering. That's a different thing. OBS never update again. When internet goes out, we all die, as people say. Metaphorically, and in some ways literally. Internet has become a very, very important part of day-to-day life. Like, weirdly enough, it is not too dissimilar, at least as an example, to like if the train network went down, or probably a more modern example, if roads just went down across the country. Would it immediately result in everyone dead? No. Would some people be like, oh, well, why don't you just put on your good boots and walk over there, gosh darn it? Maybe. But so much of our lives has been tied to roads and road access and being able to drive a couple kilometers to get food, that if suddenly you had to walk that, it would be a very, very, very big problem for many, 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 many people. Essentially the 2000 Pinnacle. Yeah, basically. Also, fun fact about the... God, what even was that called? Oh, the Y2K bug. That was it. So I guess I'm not gonna thank you. I'm gonna forget something. Yeah. Takes. Relatively speaking. But yeah. Y2K bug, everyone was worried that if, or like rather when the new millennium rolled around, all of their computers that were set to the year 99, because that's how computers typically register the year. Actually, you might be able to look at your screen right now and see the year represented that way as just 26. They were afraid that computers weren't going to understand that that was 2000 and not like 1900, right? And that was actually a very reasonable concern, right? We hear now, like, oh, it was nothing happened, everything was fine, everyone worried for nothing. And no. No, a lot of people worried for very good reason. And because they worried and scrambled to fix it, they fixed it. And so it wasn't a big problem. I'm gonna remind y'all, because I saw you're gonna see goodnight. Or was not that. Good night, Tax Cat. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again next time. Hope you get good sleep. Knows at least one of us should get one. I thought planes and Tyler just dropped out of the sky lol. That's probably, there was definitely going to be a side of like, oh, hyperbole, like mass hysteria, that sort of thing. I mean, look at the oh god, I don't even know. I don't follow the example, even though it might not be a good one. Look for like end of the world movies, like in 2012, the disaster film. People can make mountains out of any goddamn molehill you want. But that's a thing that can happen, like the Y2K, but not 2012, the movie. The Y2K bug. Actually, in micro scale, it can still happen because of leap seconds, which are a thing, and they are random, and it's weird and annoying, specifically for programmers who are trying to do something at that exact second. Sometimes. Not all the time. But occasionally, the computer will think that two different times are actually the same time, and they'll crash. Like, the program will actually break. The Y2K bug was, at the very least, in the principle, a valid concern. A thing that did need fixing, and that could, rather speaking, be pretty consistently fixed, right? Making sure that number ticks up to the next, like, hundreds or thousands position is not the most difficult thing to check for, right? And it could just be as simple as updating your computer to go beyond the year 1999, up to 2000, right? I don't know if it was the end of the Mayan calendar, which predicted some major event, I think. Then, like, a year later, they found more pages. Very funny. It was some calendar that ended at 2012. I hate to break it to you, your calendar also ends at a year. It just ends at 2026. It was a thing to make a movie about, right? Like, there's only so much shade you could throw at the film. I highly doubt the people who were making it really, truly thought that they were gonna, like, end, like, the world was gonna end. Every counter ends, everything ends, in a manner of speaking. That should be... Just one day until your calendar ends, or you're gonna die. What the fuck calendar ends on a, like, random Tuesday in January? Not even random Tuesday in January. The calendar's barely even begun. So yeah, probably. Like, that's my only guess. Like, what other possible calendar could it be other than your ticking time bomb for your life? Maybe dramatic right now will do better. That was mean. That was just like a funny jab, and it was like very blunt. I apologize. It's fucked up. Not all of them. Unfortunately now, also. Yeah. Time. Don't worry. Jokes are made up. Time my counter ended and then it didn't believe me, then I died because I was like, no, what do you mean didn't believe you? I was the only one in your corner. I was the only one who thought your life was about to end, and now you say I didn't believe you? Oh my god. Motherfuckers. Telling your trusted adult on you? What are you, 6? God damn. On school tomorrow? Ooh. Honestly, I haven't done online school myself through college. It wasn't too bad. You've been to real school? It has its benefits and its downsides. All things do. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. Assume Scuff's age. Excellent. Good. Spread random theories and conjecture. Welcome to the internet. It's not that the truth isn't out there. It's you gotta wade through an infinite amount of fucking vaguely plausible sounding garbage to get to it. Listen, God may have stopped us from creating the Tower of Babel, but the Library of? No, that shit we got on lock. It's not even a joke either. There's actually like a game that simulates the Library of Babel. No, who's an immortal and timeless god? What did I know? I thought I had made that pretty much, like, pretty clear, right? I'm trying to hide that. Of his god? Like, singular? No. Pretty much, sort of like that? What the fuck words am I saying? Damn, really? That low? Oh, that's my fucking BGM right now. Oh, like fucking a million times that. Can I have something called not having stage fright? I mean, I can make it worse. Different, but worse. But that would probably breach some kind of TOS and also get the fucking feds on me. And I'm done burying Foundation members in my backyard for a little bit. I have no more space. I wait for the worms to eat them. God damn. You fake sick again? Heads up, shoulders back. Oh. Guess I gotta be fixed again. Head up, shoulders back. You own the room when you walk on stage, make it your bitch. Yeah, honestly, the stage fright is very much one of those things that I think you. Some cases of it, I will say, just preface a little bit, are from a lack of experience. Essentially, boil it down, you don't know that you can do it. You don't know, oh, how is this gonna go? Is it gonna be okay? What's gonna go wrong? What? I'm not remembering your cryptic message. Honestly, that's not... This isn't even that cryptic. It is just advice that you don't know works can sometimes feel unhelpful simply because you don't know that they work yet. You don't know that the advice is solid. Like in this case, yeah, keeping your head up and your shoulders back, like physically roll your shoulders back a little bit, and you can appear more confident. Right? I think that's a big part of it. It's sort of like cooking in a sense. I'll use that as an example for what I'm trying to say. When you're trying to follow a recipe, it can feel difficult and confusing and arbitrary and be harder to follow. Once you've done it a few times, though, you get more confident, you get faster. Not necessarily because you're doing it any quote-unquote better, but because now you know what's coming. You know that you can do it. Doing a backflip the first time, scary, intense, exhilarating. The 1000th time, probably still somewhat exhilarating, but it's become easy. It's practiced. You go do the backflip, and you know you're gonna be okay, because you did it 999 other times. What are the odds this one's different? Experience biggest obstacle is walking on stage and doing it, right? Riding a bike. Bikes you have to learn. Bike is very much you have to learn that. I would, at least from my angle, coming from a slightly different angle, is different. Stage fright is very much not knowing that you can do it, right? And some of that might be because maybe you can't. Maybe you don't know that you can because you don't know, you haven't had the practice or the experience and the training to do it. You haven't done enough rehearsals, you haven't done anything like that. You don't know the lines. Sometimes, though, you do know the lines. You know that you know the lines. But you're afraid, what if something goes wrong? What if I somehow still fuck it up? An excellent video for that is the dude who played Sanji in the One Piece Netflix show actually released a video about training to be Sanji, and that was part of it, a smaller part of it, once he actually got to filming. And he saying, like, he was afraid that at some point he was gonna, like, forget his lines, or, like, mess up a jump, and, like, break his wrist and have to call someone else in. Like, he was terrified of it, and then he did it. And it was so cool. You can still be taught. Yeah. Like, in that case, yeah, definitely Camel. Like, stage presentation is absolutely a skill that can be taught. With stage fright specifically, it is that sort of instinctual fear of, oh god, what am I going to do? Am I going to forget my lines? And maybe that is the same as riding a bike. It's been a long time since I fucking learned how to ride a bike. I don't know, basically, I don't have ROTC. Huh. Let's look at ROTC. ROTC. Huh. You know, I was gonna say yeah, we don't have that in Canada. But then I was gonna say, actually, no, I knew someone, ironically enough, in band, who I think did that. Oh, that was like, high school. No, this is even past that. Like a high school version of it. But thinking back, no, I think he might have been American, actually. So I was gonna say, before I was gonna say that was the saw guy in band who did it, and it sounded very. I think I've confused myself. Fuck it. I didn't sir unless he's available in high school as a class and a program in college. God, ugh. The first link after Wikipedia starts with Army ROTC pays for your tuition while you go to college. My ambiguity and dubiousness on it is fucking gone. This is just vibes are off. I'm not gonna go into that. That's a whole different. That's a very, very, very deep can of worms. Even as an officer. There's something about. I don't think there's even a way for me to phrase this that doesn't sound bad. Because I don't think there is a way for it to not sound bad. Training to join the army when you're 15 feels weird. Feels weird. Vibes. Like, I understand the logic, like, oh, what are you getting as an officer? I don't know about that. No, I haven't, Kirby, and I don't want to. Do not tell me a damn thing more about it. I've seen that meme, though. The E-meme? Seen that one. That's a classic. The leadership class, the programs for kids playing, and like mini boot camp. Neither that, like, still does not sound good. Mini boot camp also does not sound good. Get paid. They say you get tuition. Again, big can of worms that I don't want to deal with. I'm fucking. Where's my toggle? I'm Canadian. Sounds like not my fucking business or problem. Mostly problem. Where's the back one? There we go. Might have a fucking soundboard there at some point. I don't know. John, yeah, about it. Probably not nearly as utility as it said. You don't say! Yeah, remember about that. Fuck it. I don't remember exactly the thing I saw it was. It was the TLDR version of basically multiple people being like, hey, yeah, no, the cultural differences between, like, the states and, to paint with an excessively wide brush, the rest of the English-speaking world is wider than most people really expect or give credit to. Again, the infinitely deep can of worms. talking as above. So minus 24. That's where it should bottom out. Huh. Although, in the training. Optional here at all. Fair. Honestly, fair. For armies go, yeah. That. Yeah. Oh, THD. Actually, to have that written down as like the talking point. There's more like. Oh, I don't know what the conversation was about. What if I've actually written down again word for word? The different forms of autism, how similar it could be to ADHD. Right. Oh, I remember that. It was at least partially, it was the idea of like the different reaction to it, of where it's like autism being this thing that the whole groups rise up like, oh no, what if? No, still like, all right, go do that. I'll finish this sentence. At least then we can pick it up back. Like people acting like, oh, terrible, awful, the curse of Ra or whatever. It'll doom our fucking crops if we let the tism roam free. Meanwhile, with ADHD, it's like, oh, yeah, no, you just gotta fucking focus, idiot. What the fuck? And I've seen it. I don't even know where I saw it. I saw it put like they're not that different as far as conditions go. Difference between ADHD and autism. Okay, damn, okay. Oxford CBT fucking saved me. The other links look like ass. Passed out for a second. Do you need sleep? Disorder. Disorder. 2 to take nerve development conditions are going to rise. Which comes from an accident. Impulsivity, relevance bound by divine social communication, strictly competitive behavior and interest. Okay. Maybe. And maybe you need sleep if you're passing out randomly. I've been there. Honestly, I recommend doing it soon because otherwise you'll get over the wall and oh my god, that fucks up your sleep schedule like nothing else. Especially given that like 10. Vaccination better focus, impulses regulate their activity. Childhood, vaccination in adulthood. Arrive. Interaction. Oh, that's a fucking thesis statement if I ever thought of one. Reading this over, it almost seems like ADHD is the more debilitating condition to have. Like, it is the one you would not want to have if you had the choice. However, it largely affects the person with ADHD. Can't focus. Let me actually find the exact wording. This significantly impacts an individual's ability to focus, control impulses, and regulate activity levels. Can confirm, and it sucks. Also confirm that one for you for free. Meanwhile, and this is Oxford Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. .co.uk. Is it the most valid link in the world? I don't know. It seemed better than Autistica, WebMD, and the fucking AI overview. So, for now, we're gonna go with it. Is it a bad thing if Nico's last words were, oh shit? Probably not. They say a lot of things sort of off the cuff. Olsen Breeder was a response to me being like, I'm sort of maybe a god. That's a whole other conversation that's not relevant right now. Yeah, ADHD, ability focus, controlling impulses and regular activity levels, ASD, autism spectrum disorder, means that individuals can exhibit a wide variety of symptoms and behaviors, with some requiring some support in daily life, and others leading largely independent lives. Yada yada yada. Where do you actually say what the core conditions are? Defined by difficulties in social communication and interaction, as well as restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. Best schedule, so do I. Basically, as this is saying, to paraphrase very heavily, don't talk too good with other people, and like doing specific things, like patterns, likes, routine. Again, this is way oversimplified, but outside of the most extreme examples therein, which is probably the larger cause for the overall panic, like, oh no, the tism. But even then, I don't know how common that is, or I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like that might be a different thing. I don't know. Do I want to fucking look it up? No. The thesis still holds, regardless, as is gone on. Anyway, the idea, the thought I had of being like, yeah, maybe it's from personal experience, but not being able to control what you're focused on, or being able to focus at all, sucks ass. Sucks so bad. While being able to focus very, very heavily on a specific thing, like, I'm not going to say it's any way negative. Like, there are many, many cases where you can see where even the most mundane example of that, of, overly focusing on a specific thing, let's say like a hyperfixation, can be good and helpful, or even just benign, right? So instead of, like, saying having a bunch of different games you play or different hobbies, you have a hobby, like building in Minecraft, or bird watching, or something. And you just do that, and you're happy and content doing the hobby, right? Legitimate behavior, still not great. But, again, at risk of saying the grass is greener on the other side, focusing on one thing a lot, I'd take that over not focusing. Please. However, back to the original thought of, well, then why is it so much more... Why is the fear-mongering around tism so much worse? With the ADHD one, all of the issues are rather internal, right? The most someone else is going to get affected by you not being able to focus is you not focusing on something that they're saying, maybe, or not remembering something, or not getting something done, and they call you lazy for it, right? But with the tism, someone, like, if your problem is communicating with other people are going to get communicated to in a not neurotypical way. Essentially, other people need to deal with ADHD more than they need to deal with autism. That is the opposite, I think. People need to deal with your tism more than they need to deal with your ADHD. I almost fucking did it again. God damn it. And so, they give a shit more. Because when I say other people, I mean the kind of people who are like, no, the vaccines, or at the very best, one or two steps above that. Being introverted, bad. Being introverted is not even in the same ballpark as this. It is just a personality trait. And out of all of them, God, there are way worse personality traits to have. No, but being an introvert is fine. there's a whole other conversation there about how everyone falls somewhere in between two extremes of all introvert, all extrovert. Like, you cannot fully just be around other people all the time, and even if you are very introverted, not seeing other people is actually bad for your health as a person. This is a known thing. But that's a whole other different thing. But like, the idea of the fearmongering on autism being so much worse than ADHD, and them being viewed as much different conditions. Although reading this, that might be much more valid. Or whatever. Other people's view of it being skewed based on whether or not they are going to experience it more is, I think, interesting. And also bad. Try and update your Discord server link. Not right now. Could I? Yes. Am I? Ugh. God fucking damn it. The things I goddamn do. God fucking piece of shit. A bunch of sticky notes because I can't find my notebook anywhere. Or one of my notebooks, the specific notebook I was looking for. Invites. Invite code. Why the fuck does it not just give me the same link that it did before? There we go. I'm pissed off. No, not really. Mildly annoyed. Yeah, clean out. Where were we? I actually continued talking, which is unfortunate. And right now I need to fix a Discord link really quick, which actually should have been updated. Okay, so that one's invalid. I'm not just going through my fucking streams to find one that's maybe not invalid. Okay. This one. Okay, that one works. Him. People. There we go. It should work now. If you need to refresh the page, you might need to refresh the page. I don't know. That doesn't go backwards. If it doesn't work or it's not updated, you might need to refresh the page. There we go. We did it. Yeah. I'd actually find a link while you were gone about the differences specifically. I'm actually going to look if this site is actually not full of shit. But the differences between ADHD and autism do feel quite a bit different. So I think in this case it might be the fairly different subjects, different conditions, but in the same sort of direction. Basically, just they're neurodivergent. Even then, is more of the interaction with the two, right? Okay. Even then, it feels more, or my read on it was, autism changes how someone interacts, like how their brain functions. That's how. Yeah, that's literally the definition. But it makes it so social interactions are different, not necessarily worse or even just harder, just different, and that becomes harder because very few other people, relatively speaking, talk and interact like you do. Which, fun fact, same is true with neurotypical people. They just find big cliques and other people that think like them. Anyway, well, ADHD interact seems to be this one thing I saw. It's from Oxford CBT. Very funny. Like it is the same basic line of thought, just harder. You made your brain move so fast I couldn't possibly talk to others? Actually, weird, like not even a tangent, but a note. Very recently, actually, my partner, we were playing fucking Pokedoku. My partner made a comment about how much I think about things and how much things make me think about them. The specific context was, to give full breadth to this tangent, the Pokemon Zarude. If you don't know who that is, you don't. Doesn't matter. They are an absolutely nothing Pokemon that will never matter. They were in a movie. Doesn't matter. But when I saw Zarude there, I was like, damn. Look at this fucking idiot. What's their fucking deal? Meanwhile, my partner saw that and was like, damn. That's a Pokemon, I guess. Which, started for me. I force you probably to slow it down and not spit out gibberish. Yeah. Yeah, word go fast. Brain go zoom. Really, the hard part for me is understanding that that's not... that it is, in fact, fast. Right? And not just normal speed. That other people... like, no, you can slow down and talk slower, and other people will not think it is slow or languished or just... yeah. It's especially bad when trying to edit video, because if you have just that little clip, like, use like 2 sentences, back to back, and try and like just listen to those 2, the space in between them can feel massive if you're listening to them over and over again. But if you're listening to them after 5 minutes of other video, that gap between those 2 sentences suddenly will feel so much faster. Which is entirely different than what we're talking about probably, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, the sort of note that I came to on the like how they interact is actually for autism and ADHD was specifically with like why does that get so much fear mongering around it, while ADHD seems relegated to fucking what are you doing? Just focus. Come on. And an idea, a conjecture / hypothesis, is that while ADHD is largely internal, you can't focus, you have trouble controlling impulses, you have trouble regulating activity levels. With autism, a much larger portion of it is external, right? Where was it? What? Involve social communication challenges, understanding and using verbal and non-verbal communication. Now, this is a different thing. Where the fuck? Explain the core characteristics of autism. It includes social communication difficulties and restricted and repetitive behaviors. Social communication challenges involve difficult understanding communication, forming and maintaining relationships, and lack of interest in social interactions. Restricted and repetitive behaviors include engaging in repetitive movements or speech, strict adherence to routines, and tense focus on specific interests or activities. For me, on this side of the fucking fence with my brown ass grass, focusing very heavily on specific interest or activities does sound preferable to not being able to focus, period, full stop. Hyperactive is both. No, it's very external. ADD is internal, but the hyperactive is both mental and physical. So much trouble sitting still. I had boxes duct taped in the front of you to pace. Damn, I. You bit. Motherfucker, you know you're just random. Anyway. Yeah, that feels very much. The most you can get out of it is this person's hyperactive as an external thing. This person can't sit still, and or they can't focus. With the autism, now they're not picking up on social cues you think are obvious. They're not making eye contact, which you think feels rude. It's a communication thing, and that requires two parties. Whereas with ADHD, you can very much be distracted and have trouble focusing all by your lonesome. Whereas you can stim by yourself, totally fine. Like waving your hand back and forth. Ain't no one around to see it, ain't no one around to give a fuck. Right? Not that anyone should give a fuck, but yeah, that's the whole point of my point, exactly. And this leads us to, why is autism so much more fear-mongered than ADHD, which is considered like a non-thing? You know, essentially, I like the name says, yeah. ADHD can be viewed as just needs to focus and doesn't want to. Meanwhile, with autism, since it's a social interaction thing, other people need to be involved, and therefore they are going to think of it as a much bigger concern because it affects them personally. That's really just the sentence, isn't it? But I just didn't write it. ADHD does not directly affect anyone else. It directly affects the person with it, which then can affect other people indirectly. But autism is gonna affect other people. Not in a bad way, necessarily, to be clear. It can, but then so can just being a shitty person, so bad personality traits notwithstanding. I wish that I didn't want to. Right, yeah. Or rather, I wish it was that I didn't want to for reasons of like, no, I don't want to go outside in the snow with my bare feet. That's cold and miserable and serves no purpose. Not, I wish I didn't want to with the same gut feeling as fucking putting my hand on a hot stove and my body vehemently rejecting it, even though that thing in question is like playing a video game I like. Also gets minor issues with socializing to having. Yeah, that's like I didn't necessarily want to fucking broach is how common are the extreme cases. But honestly, it's stupid to do that. How common extreme cases yeah, we're not gonna go to Awesome Speaks. Fuck that. Okay, is this one more reasonable? No, I want about CDC. About CDC. Okay. And they're puzzle pieces. Yeah, they're not great. Which is a very big understatement, but it's all they deserve at this point. Is the CDC a reliable source? Excellent. No, I do not want to try your new AI mode, Google. It's not even new at this point. I fucking already added a fucking like extension to remove the option because I do not want to fucking see it. from CDC. Health organization. You tell me if it's fucking trustworthy or not? Ask Google if the one that installs water in it. I'm not even gonna bother. Okay, so the CDC seems decent enough. Okay. Uh, 131. Identified. Huh. Okay. Oh, like you cracked and drained while sinking or something like that. Okay. No, don't. Yeah, they're not. Yeah. Statistics. Identified prevalence of ASD. That is seeming more common. This is just the number of okay. Dive to tank to refill your air. No. Just because it's not full of water doesn't mean it's full of air. It could be a vacuum down there. Okay. What the fuck? Bullshit. To quote verbatim, and I'm going to say end quote on this one, so you listen to the full fucking thing. From Canada.ca/public health, a study from 2019, among Canadians aged 12 to 17 years with ASD, that's autism spectrum disorder, or quote, among Canadians aged 12 to 17 years with ASD, statistically, significantly fewer reported being very satisfied or satisfied with life. 80.7%, 73.8%, 87.6% than those without ASD. 90.9%, 90.2%, 91.6%. Statistically significant, end quote. Statistically significant. A difference of, what are you looking at? 4%. 4%. Fewer people. What the fuck? Four is millions of people. Correct? I do not think that can be viewed as, wow, how terrible is this condition to have? Especially if you're going to be like, well, that's so many people. It's like, okay, if so many people have this condition, maybe, I don't know, maybe the spectrum condition, the autism spectrum disorder, is a bit of a spectrum. Right? And if in terms of like satisfied is a 4% difference, oh, so that's a pretty far leaning things. So like 96% is fine then. Now, of course, that's satisfied, not very satisfied, which is a much larger difference. But at that point, I'm also wondering if it's more a matter of like the communication thing, where people with neurodivergence can like think about questions differently. But general health. Hire people to find work, engage the community, express these things they want. Correct. My concern is that can also be difficult for people who are not on the spectrum. So how much of those difficulties is because they're on the spectrum, and how much of it is just because these are things people can experience? Is there going to be correlation there? Almost certainly. I want to know how much. Have specific health conditions. Here's a good example. That's a different example, like a different thing in general, but it is still a question I have. This page, percent of children and youth aged 5 to 17 years with and without ASD who have specific long-term health conditions for learning disability/disorder, much more common with autism. How much of that is because the way schools are taught is being taught by a teacher? Teacher-student interactions is a kind of social interaction, right? Should this be considered a learning disability? I don't even know, maybe. Basically, how much of this goes away if you just address the fact that this student has the autism? We need to teach them in a different way. I don't know. Like that, I believe they would have to be kind of developed to participate. Maybe? The answer could actually be the opposite, where only people with noticeable autism... Actually, I'm better on a PC than anything else, right? But there's also the counter-argument to thinking like, well, people partaking in stuff like that, they'd have to be developed to participate. True, but also possibly they could go and get people with that regardless. Like if it's a random study, like, hey, this person, determining how they can go to the study. But it could also be how many people who took the study didn't know they had autism because they assumed their life had to be harder because of it. Right? How many people, especially because, again, these are studies of people 5 to 17 years old, how many people's parents think that because the kid's developing fine and they're doing fine in school, that they don't have anything? Remember, I got fucking diagnosed with ADHD very late into college. Was it very late or after? One of the two. So up until that point, I would have fallen under without ADHD, right? That's where that comes in. And still, I've not found a figure. Extreme. What are the extreme versions? Gonna stock? Yeah. Thank you. Got the paper and everything. I'll add it with the rest. Now, Asperger's. I believe, from what I'm seeing, National Health and National Institute of Health. Okay. I think your earlier example would fall under profound autism. To quote National Library of Medicine, a paper, the Pediatric Clinics of North America. I do not tell this is 1,000 authors. Let's see. Different one. Science Foundation. Okay. About autism, I've seen this now twice. Okay, promotes it's okay. This looks legit enough for me to quote it. 24-hour access to an adult who can care for them, so 24-hour care. Require accountability measured by IQ of less than 50 and or non-speaking or minimal verbal activity. Right? So profound autism is what we're looking for. 100% autism that is profound. CDC reports profound autism for the first time. I'm gonna need to get a second source on this before I even say it out loud. Pros, autism, here we go. We have population-based survey data on Cohen. You're nonverbal, or minimally verbal, or okay. Damn. Wait. Only give me a full fucking excerpt. Actually, we're update. Oh no, there's no specific names. Hence why we go by profound autism at this point. Essentially on the same spectrum, but after a certain point. Right? Check that out. Thank you. immediate red flag is referring to the mildest form as requiring support. Either that is simply untrue because, people can deal with it just fine, or it is about specifically children with autism, at which point, well, yeah, no shit, they're children. All children need support. I've seen it being there being outdated terms is correct. I've never seen it specific terminology though. Okay, this is the full study. It's the only paper I can see. What was the methodology? Anyway, surveys. Thank support and the three character means we learn to communicate their way, all things you and I see as human decency. Right. Again, it seems like it would probably fall more under the idea of their kids. All kids need support. You're giving all of the kids support. These ones just need different support. We're gonna say that you need to deal with that. Like you need to change what you're giving them. Also, just to say it's out loud, the fact that all of these studies are specifically with children with autism is another, not even red flag, it's like a blank spot. Of like, where's the rest of this information? So School for Kids, awesome. That page. Gotcha. Okay. I applied standard case to ASD. Population denominators. How development, disabilities monitoring, ADDM network conducted population-based surveillance. Children with autism selected U.S. sites in even-numbered years since 2000. Estimate the prevalence of autism. ADDM network used records-based surveillance methodology. Staff reviewed records from medical, educational, and service providers, as previously described. Children were classified as having autism after records reviewed by clinicians who applied a standard case definition, ASD, based on behavioral criteria ASD described in the site. And children recorded birth certificate from their states of additional birth and population nomination. Okay. We include two sites. We exclude two sites, Missouri and Pennsylvania, from this analysis because of a lack of access to educational records in which cognitive functioning data are typically included. Okay. That was because the diagnosis criteria for autism didn't exist before 98. There's little to no data for adults. That's fair. That is true. My thing though, the paper I'm reading, by the way, is the prevalence and characteristics of children with profound autism, 15 sites in the United States, 2000 to 2016, from Public Health Reports. 2023 paper, Associated School and Program Development, yada, yada, yada. The reason why I bothered to read through the methods section, and also, again, example of why you should do your own research, and also why most people don't. They are looking for medical records of people with autism. Okay, that sounds reasonable as fuck. Why am I sounding like I'm about to do a fucking Phoenix Wright bit and break this case wide open? Because it means it is only really going to be, or it will disproportionately miss cases of autism that are more mild. Especially because this is a study given information from 2000 to 2016, right? So how many parents were getting kids tested for autism in that time if it did not seem very necessary, right? Something is very clearly going on. What is going on? How can we help? How many doctors were prescribing it, right? Or diagnosing it at the time, right? Some, to be clear, it was getting addressed and was getting diagnosed and it was being looked at. But if you had a milder case, were your parents really going to bring their 8-year-old to the doctor because they didn't, or because they preferred to eat the same thing more often than they would have thought? Right? Again, to use a purely anecdotal source, I had to go myself, and I was fucking in or past college. A little past the fucking 8-year-old age range. Right? So I would not have been counted in this study had I been in the thing. I was having tested there anyways. Had this been for ADHD, also wouldn't. Until institutionalized for angers at 15. Damn. Again, it does sort of give credence to my point that the most severe cases will get diagnosed more regularly. So because, I mean, have you heard did I fucking say the definition for profound autism? Children were classified as having profound autism if they were nonverbal, minimally verbal, or an intelligence quotient of below 50, and again, required 24-hour care. We are talking the cases of 8-year-olds who could not be left alone, period. And also could not, or could very minimally speak. And even here, in this study, which I believe we can say with pretty solid conviction is biased towards profound cases, this study found that of children 8 years old with autism, 26.7% had specifically profound autism. Just over 1/4. Never being I'd seen mental health professionals most of your life, but took being locked up and washed all the time to figure it out, right? Yeah. And if that's what it took in that case, how many cases, like I said, had to be watched at all times? One of the defining traits of profound autism. Or, as you put it before, needing help wiping your own ass. Although, again, that might not be is not every case, might not even be common. It's a stereotype and one that is not helpful, which is why I was looking up all these studies. Regardless, even within this study that is even the study that seems like it would be very comfortable to say is biased towards the profound cases, a little over 1/4 with autism, to be clear. I think it's pretty safe to say that, by and large, it is not this severe, right? Mostly because if it isn't severe, you don't get put on studies for it because you don't get it diagnosed. which means parent has to take their kid to be tested because they're the only ones who sees them that much, right? So it's a compounding thing of both needing to get diagnosed for that. That's fair. Needing to get diagnosed for that, like having your parents diagnosed, needing both your parents to think of it as enough of a concern to bring it to a doctor or a psychologist, and having the psychologist go, yeah, this seems like what it is. Alright. Alright. Good night, Courier Boy. Take care. See you next time. Ciao, ciao. Now, we're back to the negative superstitions and no one getting tested. Exactly. Alright. We're at... Yeah, I think that is a solid enough conclusion, given solid enough evidence. It is within the autistic community, or autistic population, at or below 1/4. And I have to... I'm trying very hard not to let my own bias, like my own lived experience, seep in, because, well, I have interacted and seen the interactions of a fair many people with autism. By definition, I'm not necessarily communicating with the completely nonverbal ones that can't communicate, the profound autism cases. So, of course, I'm not going to see a large population of them. I'm not working in healthcare like that. You can also immediately say the other side, sort of also leaning into the, as you said, like, superstitions and negative bias, where you go like, well, of course my kid doesn't have autism. They're not like ... that. Right? People love referring to others as simply that or those people. Lovely folks, people who say that. Anyway, so leads to a strong bias for only the profound cases being viewed. Also, a note on this paper that I think is, I want them to be together. I know quite a few others. Also true, right? As another important thing is, because autism, you can describe their difficulties with social interaction pretty consistently, those difficulties suddenly line up if you are in a group of other people with autism, right? Like, oh, to take a stereotype as a simple example to be brief, autistic people don't get social cues and subtlety very well. Well, if you're in a group of other people who don't really get subtlety and social cues, they're probably not going to use very much subtlety and social cues because they don't know how, right? Right? Suddenly, it's not a problem. It's just a thing. Like, they just do it. It's like if you were talking with someone, like a group of people who had an exceptionally high tell for social cues, right? Oh yeah, they can read facial expressions really, really, really clearly. And they can pick up on minute changes in tone. It would be almost like they had fucking, like, emotive ears. Like a fucking cat, or like antenna. You could just read a whole different set of expressions off of that you just can't read, right? And this is, again, sort of like push the scale the other way for a theoretical neurotypical audience, I suppose, where it goes like, okay, this is why, and it, rather, if a neurotypical person was trying to talk in this this version where people can pick up on these minute changes in tone, they will not be able to read those minute differences in tone, and they will not be able to create them. Right? Why the fuck is that frozen? Behave. No? No? You're just... There we go. Good enough. Show her to people's faces. They just can't. Right? It's... Yeah. Again, sliding up the scale, if we just create tones that people cannot hear, let's say, I don't know, elves, go back to the ear example. You can't read what someone's ears are saying because humans don't have emotive ears, but you also can't make them, right? This is a neurological thing. It's not a thing you just haven't learned, it's a thing you don't do. And so not only would an elven dickhole fucking be like, why are you so rude and crass and you cannot tell that I am trying to be polite when I tell you to fuck off? Or that I was not actually giving you compliments you could not tell by my ears? And also, how am I supposed to talk with you? You're so uncooperative. I don't have a choice but to be independent. Remember, that one was still... That was still about kids. That one I was bringing... I'm focused specifically on the profound level. And that's not even like a level thing, it's a class of it. I do not know what else it could be. I saw that one site. It doesn't seem bad, per se, but... Given the last fucking hour of stream about... I like to do my research on this. I do not want to research this fully enough to be confident in it. So I'm just not gonna. There's everyone? Again, I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm saying I saw, in my own research looking for profound autism, specifically the highest end, I never saw it referred to as third level. And I don't have the energy to fucking do all this research again. I have shit to do, man. I'm getting it done a little bit, but... What the fuck was it again? I'm just gonna add text here. Sex. X. And dip to 30. Alright, get to work. Alright, I'm cooking bacon, typing for the other room. Anyways, I just can't see what I'm typing. Damn. That's really impressive until it like fucks up and then isn't. Hasn't yet. That is horrific. I hadn't even noticed, honestly. Like I said, very impressive. Okay. That in. Loud. I feel like my finger roll onto other keys. That's awkward for. Still loud. God damn. fucking denoise this shit. Did not realize how badly that needs some denoising. Okay. It's 24. The problem I have now is that the fucking voiceover I have from the actual footage isn't very level. So the low points and the high points aren't low. So yes, I have tried to fucking find right here. You hate cooking bacon? Oh no, what happened? Actually, eat Canadian bacon. No, we just call it ham. Like, it's just called ham, and sometimes we do put it on sandwiches, but we don't call it bacon. Roast ham. I do not know what version you've... Honestly, now I can take a guess. If you have shit that's calling itself Canadian bacon, it's a scam. You got scammed, brother. You got scooped. It's like going to Japan and getting like authentic American Big Mac. Like, that ain't gonna work. I was not even close. I don't even know if I was trying to go for there. I was trying to sound like not my own voice. Fuck. Like, on breakfast sandwiches? Yeah. Like, you can get on breakfast sandwiches, and it's very good on breakfast sandwiches. But you can also get other things than bacon on breakfast sandwiches. Need to deal with this one. Needs to be much lower. It's 3. Like a real thin slice of ham. Remember that. Up a little bit. Lower. Damn. Oh, none of you are on hold. Fuck, that's my problem. No, no, no. Hold all of those. Okay. Nice. Alright, what are we looking at? That's a fucking AI nerve. I ain't trusting that shit. I never will. Canadian bacon. I've never fucking seen this example that I've seen. I think. The term Canadian bacon is not used in Canada, and as bacon made from trimmed lean eye of the loin is not generally available. In Canada, all bacon made from pork loin is known as back bacon, while bacon loin refers to the same streaky pork belly bacon as in the United States. Yeah, what we're talking about is a part of back bacon. Back bacon is itself the strips from the back of the pig instead of the belly, which is where streaky bacon is from. Importantly, it is most often found in British and Irish cuisine because that's where it originally came from. It was shipped from Canada to Britain as like cured back bacon and was then brought over to the States because Americans liked it. It's brined and all that makes a big difference. Correct. Wait, actually, is it correct? No, I don't know what version you got. But again, I think you got scammed. Ham steak, another term used to describe Canadian bacon. Ah, wait. Wet cure, rolled in cornmeal. unfortunately, yellow female. Yeah, you mean pea meal bacon. Yeah, pea meal is wet cured, unsmoked bacon made from trimmed, lean, boneless pork loin rolled in cornmeal. Yeah, basically it's a thing y'all got from Canada at one point and assumed it had to be just from that and could not grapple with the term back bacon. Why am I fucking adding this version of it? Maybe because at least this one's less loud. I need to bring it down to 30. You wouldn't insult bacon by calling lesser cuts bacon. Motherfucker, you call it Canadian bacon! You do call it bacon! What are you talking about? Okay. How's it get blocked yet? 30. 16. God damn. What the fuck are you selecting down there? Oh, Jesus. And our friends of North, our favorite scapegoat. Again, it came to the States because it was liked. Y'all took it by choice. We aren't even the motherfuckers eating it. God, absolutely typical American behavior. Ugh. Ugh. Forget. And I also do assume, at least partially, you just got shitty back bacon. Yeah. Now that I've gotten everything more properly lined up audio-wise, the bits that haven't been changed yet sound so fucking loud. God, still? Damn, still. Okay. Oh, right. Oh, Jesus. I have a million years of video. I forgot. I'm trapped. I can put that one down a little bit. That brings this one down. Right down to 0, so that works. one more down. Actually, that's because yours went bad. Oh no. If I do this, audio gain, that's all peaks to X. God damn it. Oh. Okay, again, peaks to 6. No last means need more bacon. Fair enough. Audio gain. Now to -1. What the fuck? 6. Zero. You can change max peaks to -2. What the fuck am I even doing with 6? If I did something like audio gain normalized peaks to -5. Now this should mean that the only things I need to deal with are nope, not that one. This one needs to go up by a bit. This one should be able to go into 0. No, it's everything back to the way it was. Maybe not. That's actually still... Huh. Audio gain is going to 0. 2. And then going to change it. Audio gain almost all peaks to -5. Okay. May hoops? May hopes? Okay. That's still kind of loud? Yes, if I go in there and say audio gain, normalize all peaks to -5. Okay. I really do need it to be louder at the quiet bits, but really that's just adding volume to the quiet bits then, right? If I know that the loudest parts are the right volume for the loudest parts, all I need to worry about are bits that aren't loud enough. Hooray! Progress. A little bit. Zero again. That's louder. Must be louder. That can be 2, that can be 3, that can be 2. Also just 2. Moved you down, 1 to go, hell yeah. Shit. I do want to mess around a little bit. Good. Write it down. This one. Oh, shit. Hold. Hold. You. Zero, probably? Closer to zero. You do have a denoise, fuck. Destruction? Shit. Right, I forgot that part. Just that can have fucking denoise feature. Drink apple juice. Okay. I don't even know what that said. I was in Discord. Sweet better. That needs to come down a little bit. Video game 2. That doesn't actually come down. -1 there for the volume. Audio gain almost peaks to -6 instead of -5. That's better. I ran into the problem where the bits I'd already edited had lower volume, like I already messed with. When I then say, okay, maximize all of them here, it sounded fine because I'd already fucked with it a little bit. It does need some assistance. be so much louder? Why do you actually have more volume? Two. Back up, level, hold. Two. Okay. No. And why is the fucking 9.4? What beam noise function on you? In the lake? Goddamn. Let's get brought down. It's already been brought down by a lot. Okay. That seemed pretty good, actually. Isn't it? Okay. Yeah, that's clean. That's very clean. Hooray! I got the volume under control. Yippee! Hooray! I'm doing an extra, like, half an hour minimum. Don't worry, it's a whole minute of footage that I already had mostly edited together. Only 20... How many more is that, actually? Only 38 more to go! It takes so long. Remember when I said I need to fucking internalize and understand that I prefer making shorter videos? This is what I meant. This is what I mean. Oh no. Next. Okay. A lot of me is like, I want to continue doing it because I can still do stuff. I can feel a headache coming on. I can feel the motivation leaving my body. I did it. I got it sorted. Yeah, I can't even bring myself to be like, I'll fucking sort out the background music I already have from my previous videos, which turns out was a lot of it. Oops. I'm going to go complain about how long it is. Honestly, fair. It is far too fucking long. Although it's also partially your fault, because a lot of the length comes from parts where I just talked in the footage. I actually do have the makings of a fucking extended cut. That's... How fucking long is the extended cut, actually? It should not take a very long time to fucking check. Ooh, actually... Oh, you're so funny. I mean, you. I'm the one doing all the bits. Like, it's from my jokes, my gaffes. You gave good advice, yes, but... Intelligent, thought-provoking advice is not the same thing as clown behavior. All the time. That's true. That's on stream. This is live. Not live. This is video. It's the opposite of live. What's the extended cut looking like? Oh, an hour and 20 minutes. Damn. Fuck. Oh, much longer than that, actually. Actually, no, yeah, about an hour and 20 minutes. Of all the bits that I thought were, like, worth considering. That's some premium fucking Patreon content there. Ah, you want to hear me yammer about shit? You love hearing me talk? Well, actually, you love hearing my fucking dulcet tones so badly you're going to give me money? Here you go, here's an extra fucking almost 45 minutes of extra me not shutting the fuck up. Congratulations. Okay. We'll sleep to it. Unlikely. It has fucking, like, belt sander noises. That's a whole other thing to think about is, like, the like, borderline uninterested, like, sort of almost monotone voice description for videos is, like, the best casual listening stuff. You're, like, chiller. And it's like, well, that's the exact kind of opposite thing that I'm trying to make. So should I be making different stuff? Do I not need to worry too much? Who knows? I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna go not do work stuff. Or think. I don't think you do. Just make me think. Big important topic, that asshole. I use my brain for shit. Alright. Put back in my actual headphones so I can hear. On my actual desktop. Which just does mean we could have had another excellent face smash skull bash incident. Whatever we want to call that. Anyway. Ugh, I'm very tired. I need to move the mouse. Sleep. Screams of war as long as it's a new noise. At that point, you get a white noise generator. It feels much simpler than screams of war. Much less work for me, too. Fucking hell. Anyway. Good night, Camel. Good night, everyone else. Hope to see you all next time. But until then, take care of yourselves out there. take care of each other. Don't make your videos too long. It takes so long to edit. And bye-bye, everyone.